Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dion. This is Tillamook lip balm and it is mint chocolate chip ice cream flavored and scented. I hope you have a snack. You can see from the time how long this video is, and even though I'm only 14 seconds in, I have a feeling it's going to be long. I will edit out where I can. I'm going to tell you the structure of the video and then we're going to get into the video, and while I'm doing the look I will be talking about things, and so that's why I think this is going to be long, because if I'm talking, can't really edit it out or it's not going to make sense. So the structure of this video is going to go I'm hella excited for this video. We're going to talk about how this no-buy and this collab came to be, and you can see from the title it is with Loc Maiden. She is an amazing friend. Like, we've developed like quite a friendship. She's insightful, she's intellectual, she's thought-provoking. I find her to be an authentic, genuine person, and not to mention she does bomb makeup looks, and so I am really excited for this, and she has really good ideas too. I'm also going to talk about my feelings and experiences through the last month. Today is May 30th, so our no-buy officially ends June 1st. So 1 minute after midnight on the 1st is when our no-buy ends. But I'm going to talk about my experiences and my feelings throughout the month of May. And those are things I'm going to do while I'm doing my face. And yes, I have notes, because there's no way I would remember all of this. And I have notes to what I'm going to say as well. I'm going to tell you how this look was determined. We're going to do that before we start the look. And at the end, I'm going to give my final thoughts about the look. And so for the intro, hello, welcome. My name is Dion. I call this here the crazy troll nation of YouTube. The crazy, just enjoying your videos and enjoying the channels that you watch. The troll part is not caring too much about the beauty community standards. I was just now thinking I should have started the face while I was doing the intro. Excuse me. Apologies. Not caring too much about the beauty community standards. You set the standard for yourself. Try not to feel like you need to use a certain brand or a certain tool or even a certain technique. Wear whatever you want to wear, use it however you want to use it, because you need to be satisfied with how your makeup looks. Here at the Crazy Troll Nation, we are about self-acceptance and self-love, embracing your natural features, enhancing them if you want to, when you want to, but never feeling like you have to. That's what we stand for here. Just rocking what we want to, not caring too much about what other people say, knowing that we are awesome, and just rocking it and loving ourselves for who we are and for how we look, even without face paint on. I do curse sometimes in my videos, because I do curse sometimes in real life. So what I'm going to be putting on my face, the idea, this was Loc's idea, was we do a look and talk about our feelings about the no-buy and our experiences and picking each other's makeup. I mentioned something in a previous video that it was hilarious to me, because my collection to me is fairly small, larger than some, but a whole lot smaller than most. I just did another inventory. I have 39 eyeshadow palettes. At the time when we started this, I think I had 42 or 43. And so picking each other's makeup to me was hysterical, because I didn't have that many options. And so she had said at one point, my whole collection is up for grabs because I don't have a whole lot to pick from. Whereas for her collection, she sent me category groupings and I was to pick each product from each category. So she'll talk about that in her look, and you'll see what I chose for her to use. And I told her the brands of eyeshadow palettes I had, Notoriously Morbid, and she said, how many palettes do I have from them? I said, one. Shroud Cosmetics, excuse me. She said, how many palettes do you have from them? I said, one. And so it was just hysterical to me, because it wasn't a whole lot to choose from. And she didn't want to choose a brand that I just had one palette from. And I'm excited about the brand that she chose. And so what she chose for me, I did my brows, Brow Fenty pencil. She didn't choose that. She didn't choose my lip balm. But what she chose for me and she didn't choose the Fenty eyeshadow primer. We didn't choose primers, well, eye primers. And so she chose for me to use the Fenty foundation, which I always use the primer with the foundation, and I only have 3 foundations. It was hysterical to me. I was just like, yeah, this is just funny. She chose for me the Fashion Fair Studded Loose Powder in Truly Tawny. And I do have links for, I think, all of this stuff down below. She chose for me an Hourglass cheek situation. A cheek situation is what I call when you use one brand for your bronzer, blush, and highlighter. And so that's what I call a cheek situation. And so we will be using both the Tiger palette and the Tiger palette and the Elephant palette for our cheek situation. And for finishing powder, she chose an Hourglass powder. I do have a single of one of the powders in here, so we're going to use that from the Elephant palette. And for my lip, I'm saving the eyeshadow palette for last because I am just really excited to get back to it. The last video I did was, excuse me, my 4th look with the new Nomad palette, and I was just done. And so I'm excited to use this palette because I know it's going to work. So she chose for me a red lip. Y'all know I love a dark lip. Loc, why are you playing? The most red lip that I have is this one here from NARS, and this is one of the Power Mattes, and the shade is Star Woman. And I did swatch them out. This is the most red. All of my other ones are like burgundy reds, brown reds, blue reds. So this is the most red, and so I wanted to stay true to what she chose, and that's why I picked that one. And the palette that she chose for me, the eyeshadow palette she chose for me, was Pat McGrath Mothership 10 Moonlit Seduction. And I'm excited. You see my face, right? I'm excited for this collab. I'm excited for a lot of reasons, but we'll talk about that later because I do not want this to be super long, and I do feel like it is. Again, I will edit where I can, but once I start talking, it's just going to be what it is. And so I appreciate you for being here. There will be timestamps below too, but most of it will be the look, and while I'm doing the look, I'll be going into other stuff. So so that's that. But this is what the palette looks like. I'm thinking to just do like this quad here because that's easy, and y'all probably like, girl, that's boring because these are the celestial shades over here. But if I do this, it'll be quicker than trying to incorporate the celestial shades. But we'll see when we get there. So let's get into the look. Okay, and also my no-buy experience. Okay, so one thing I realized that I was doing was I was not even opening the majority of emails that I received from brands because I'm signed up for emails for quite a few brands that I know that work. It pained me when Pat McGrath concealer was 30% off. I'm like, ugh. But we know Pat always has 30% off sales, and so that wasn't really a big deal. And her Memorial Day sale, which to me I feel some kind of way about, because Memorial Day is to remember soldiers who have died, and you're having a sale. And I'm not just saying that for Pat's brand, but everybody does it. Every store, every brand, shoe stores, you know, everywhere has Memorial Day sales, and it rubs me the wrong way. And maybe because I'm a veteran, and you know, I know people who did serve in the military and they are dead, so Memorial Day is to remember and honor them, not to go out and save money, even though saving money is great. But anyway, her Memorial Day sale excluded the foundation. And I'm like, and I only know because I was reading comments and somebody said that. So I was not even opening a lot of brand emails. Some that I did open, I opened specifically to unsubscribe from that brand's email list. And so that's one thing, because I do get a lot of emails. And I was just like, okay, this is a lot. And brands that I don't buy from often, those were the ones I was deleting. Brands I shop from often, I actually have it on my home screen on my phone, like in a folder. Like Fenty, Nomad, Pat McGrath, and Tasha Denona. So if I want to just get to it and just see if it's a sale, I'll look on there. But then also on Instagram, you'll see when they're having sales. And so it wasn't really a big deal to subscribe from some of the emails. I had like a rogue eyebrow hair that was not even attached, so I don't even know where that came from. Well, it came from my brows. So that was one thing I realized that I was doing, was just decreasing the amount of emails that I was getting from brands. Another thing, oh, temptations. Was I tempted? Esom came out, and it's still out, a bronzer palette, and it ranges from a skin tone shade. I meant to do my face first. It starts with a skin tone shade, and then I'm moving slow because I'm not always good at multitasking. So please bear with me, and I do apologize if I'm annoying and y'all like, girl, just get to it. What was I saying? Oh, the Esom bronzer palette. The lightest shade looks like it would be almost my skin tone, which would be great to tone down a blush that's too bold or too bright or something. And I had said to Loc, and it's $80. If you know Esom, it is a luxury brand, and not only that, but it's a professional makeup artist brand. So it's not just like for the everyday person. And I told her if I do get that, I will not need any other bronzers until that one goes bad. So as I was saying, the lightest shade looks my skin tone. The deepest shade is like a deep mahogany. And I'm like, that would be nice dusted real light, like just on my my contour area. And looking at it, I can use everything in there. And they say you can use it on your eyes as well, but I would just have to check the ingredients. But it is a beautiful palette. There are, I believe, 5 shades in there. And so you might be thinking $80 is a lot, but you're getting 5 shades. And for most of us, well, for all of us who do purchase high-end or luxury products, we are spending $25 to $30+ for just a bronzer. And so here you're getting 5. So even if they were 20 a piece, that would be $100. If they were 30 a piece, that would be $150. And I'm just breaking it down that way to say it sounds like a lot coming out the gate, but when you go in the gate and you start inventorying what you get for the price, it is on par with what we pay. And so the price didn't scare me off. So I was like, okay, yeah, I do want to get that. But then as I kept thinking about it, I do still want it. But I'm okay with waiting for a sale because I have different cheek situations. I have House Labs, Makeup by Mario, Pat McGrath, Hourglass, even Lethal that I had forgot about. Yeah, and Natasha Denona. So I have enough stuff to do a full cheek situation, and again, meaning bronzer, blush, and highlight. So I'm like, and not that any of makeup for me is a need, but it's not even a want because I have bronzers. And I use the LYS bronzer as a contour. So that's going to be put on hold. And so that was not even, I wasn't tempted by it because it's not limited edition. I said it'll be there, and eventually Esom may have a sale. They seldom do, but when they do, it might be, you know, between 10 and 30%. So, I'm trying to think of what I'm going to do now. So that is that. I want this brush. I did like how the Udin's Eye, I think it was the Stone and Rock palette, the green khaki one. But then I believe they use pressed pigments. And as I kept looking at it, I said, I have those shades. And I actually do. And at first I thought, when I saw it, I thought I'm going to get that, or at least look into the ingredients to see if it's something I can wear. And I saw Teresa's Dead do a video with it, and the shades looked really rich, deep, dark. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that'll work. But then when I saw someone else with a deeper skin tone, she considers her complexion uncooked chicken. She's very fair. And when I saw someone deeper than her but lighter than me, the shades looked very muted. And I'm just like, okay, no. Because y'all know I like dark colors. Y'all know I like bold colors. And so I was just like, I'm not getting it. So I don't even want that now. And so something that nobody does for me is that it slows me down, and it really makes me think, okay, am I really going to use this? Is it going to add to my collection? Like the Eastham thing will not add to my collection, except just having just that one blush palette that I can just use, or if I travel, take with me anywhere, and I can find something in it that'll work with whatever my look is. So in that sense, it will add to my collection. And also some of those rich tones in that palette will add to my collection. But the Uden's Eye palette, I'm like, no, because I prefer darker tones. And so I no longer even want that. And so that's what the no buy does for me, is as I keep thinking about something, it solidifies, like, yeah, I want that, or it's like, no, I don't even want that anymore. I saw the Nocturne palette, excuse me if you heard that gurgle in my throat, on Instagram, and when I initially saw it, I'm like, I'm getting that palette. It reminded me of the Swamp of Sorrows palette from Necromancy Cosmetica, but this has 8 shades. I think that one had 12, and it had like lighter shades like pink and like a lighter yellow or something. And so I thought, you know what, that would add to it. And looking on the website, they did have eye swatches, and the shades looked really intense, but the person they did the swatches on was very fair. And so I'm like, And when I looked at arm swatches, some of the shades looked really light. And I'm like, you know what? The shades I want are the ones I have, which are the deep ones from the Necromancy Cosmetica palette. So I no longer want the Nocturne palette. So again, here we are back to, over time, thinking about it. Will it add to it? Is it really my color story? Because initially I'm like, I'm getting that palette, and the more I looked at it, I was just like, I'm not getting that palette. So that was a really good thing. Another thing, I was overthinking. I was reorganizing my Macari stuff again. Y'all, listen, for the first time ever, even the first week of May, I made 5 Macari sales, and these were high ticket items. Natasha Denona, Danessa Myricks, it was something else, and I'm just like, oh, Hourglass, my brand new Tiger palette sold. I'm just like, whoa. And so I haven't finished adding up the numbers, but I can tell you I've made at least $500 from Macari sales in the month of May, which is great, because I do know I want to do a full face of Pat, which means I need to purchase certain things. But again, I will wait for a sale, and hopefully her foundation will be on sale too. So I'm just really excited about that, because that has never happened. Usually it's like one sale here, one sale there. But this was like, whoa. And every time something sold, I'm texting Loc like, oh, somebody just bought this for this much money, blah, blah, blah. And so it was just really exciting. I'm having trouble multitasking, like seriously. I overthought the Macari because I decided to keep my Biba palette, because I did return the Pat McGrath Velvet Liaison palette. Some of those shadows did not agree with my lids, and some of you like the look. I was just like, I had to work for it, and I don't like, I like my makeup to be easy. We're going to take this shade here. This is Rosewood Romantique, excuse me. Why does this feel like I did this before? I probably did. You know what, I'm thinking now I should have just did the entire bottom row. I remember for one palette, I think it might have been Subliminal. I did a look with the top row and a look with the bottom row, and both of them were bomb. But since I've already started this one, probably not. I think I may have, because I remember layering this with something. Let me just keep to the video. Where am I at? Oh, I was overthinking the Macari, because even though I already had Biba, I had purchased it during one of her sales, so I did not pay a lot for it. And I purchased it with the intent to sell it, because if it sells out, I can sell it for full price. But as I was rearranging stuff, I started rethinking, and I'm looking at it like, Oh, and also I returned both of those mini Natasha palettes that I purchased, and I hadn't used those, which was great because they can put them back on the shelf. I did try to sell the Pat palette, because I knew if I returned it to the company, they would just trash it, and I would prefer somebody to use it. But Pat only gives you a 30-day window from your order date. So I do get her stuff within 4 to 5 days, which left me, what, like 2.5 weeks to sell it. And it didn't sell. I had quite a few likes on it, but I didn't want to chance it and it not end up selling. Because I've said before, if it doesn't suit me, that's one thing. But if I have an issue, if it irritates my lids, I want my money back. And so I did end up just returning it. And my refund was processed and back on my credit card within maybe 6 days. And I know some people don't like to return on her site. They say it takes, you know, it's aggravating, which it really wasn't for me anyway. But so not having that and returning the Natasha Denona minis, which again I didn't use, so they can put them back on the shelf. My thought was, okay, having those would substitute for Biba. But having returned all of that, and Biba is unique to my collection in the sense that even though it's a neutral palette, it has every neutral shade I could ever want in there. And it does have some light shades in there. It does have some cool tones. It does have some deep shades. It has a few metallics or satins, I think they are. So I was like, you know what? I should just keep it. And my overthinking was, is this breaking the no-buy? And so I went back and forth with Loc on that, because in my mind, no-buy means nothing new, even though it was something I had purchased before. And so I was just really overthinking it. And I am a concrete thinker. It's like either it is or it's not. And I find for me with no-buys, I question every purchase. Even if I'm at the grocery store and I have my list, you know, get chicken, get steak, get rice, you know, get some canned goods, and I'm like, oh, they got that cheese Danish I like. I'll be like, nope, don't get it. It's like a no-buy for me is nothing unless it's essential. Like no snacks, no extra, you know, Doritos. And that's just how my mind works. And it's easier for me to do that because I would end up looking for loopholes. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can't buy anything. I'll just shop my Mercari store. So even though it wasn't money purchasing things, it was things that were still going to be new to me because my Biba I had turned. And so I didn't have Biba again. And so it still felt to me like it was a new purchase, even though it was already purchased. You know what I'm saying? And so she said it wasn't, she ended up saying it wasn't overthinking, but she understood why I was struggling with whether or not to keep it. But I did tell her I wouldn't use it until after the no-buy is over, just because of how my brain is still processing. Even though I didn't purchase it now, it's still something new I'm adding to my collection. I did decide to keep the ABH face palette and the Natasha Denona duo, this one here. And I think this came in, no, that didn't come in the subscription box. That was the Natasha edit thing. That was like $50 and you got a whole bag full of stuff, that leopard print bag, which is actually kind of cute. And I did use those. I looked at them and I'm like, you know what? And I messed around and tried them. I used them both together in combination and layered, and I really liked it. And I decided to keep that. And I didn't have an issue with that because I had already used those before. So it wasn't like brand new. Like the Biba palette was like brand new, still in a box, not swatched, not used. So I didn't have an issue keeping and using the used stuff. And so, but let me know what your thoughts are on that. Like, what is a no-buy to you? Like, if you had a Mercari store or stuff from Poshmark or eBay or whatever, and you were reorganizing and you found something, you're like, ooh, I think I should keep that. You know what I mean? Like, what are your thoughts? Like, would you feel... All of a sudden, I just got dizzy. Like, seriously. I do have vertical episodes every now and then. I feel, oh my God. I was trying to decide whether to continue, but I know I'm not spinning. I know stuff isn't moving. It just feels that way. So I'm going to just keep going. Oh my God. This hasn't happened to me for a while. So I'm just like, what's happening? So yeah, so I was struggling with that. And also I have the Hourglass Mineral Veil Translucent Powder. We're going into this shade here, which is Extreme Nocturne. I told you I wasn't going to show y'all stuff. And that's the translucent powder I used to always use to set my face. But then I started using the Fashion Fair, which is my skin tone. And what made me rethink the Hourglass powder was I saw someone on Instagram, and this was months and months ago, and I forgot that I had it in my Mercari store until I was rearranging stuff. And she used it as an under eye powder, and I'm like, what is that? Like, it just was just like so. I was like, what? And then I'm thinking I don't need an under eye powder because I have, you know, Fashion Fair to set. And if I get the pat situation, I'll have that powder too to set my under eye area. And then also, after I set with the Fashion Fair, sometimes I put the hourglass on top of it. So I'm like, I don't need it. And again, I don't think makeup is a need, period. You need air, you need shelter, you need water, you need food. If you don't have those things, you're going to die. Makeup, if you don't have it, you're not going to die. And so I think I did decide to keep it. So that's that part. What made the no buy a little easy for me, even with all the new releases, is because I don't buy a lot of new releases because of my sensitivities on my lids to pressed pigments and to carmine and to oxides. There's a lot of brands I just don't buy from. And so even if I see something that looks nice, I'm looking at it thinking, can I do this with something else? And so I'm not usually tempted, and things don't usually grab me. When I saw 669 the first time, I said, I'm getting it, and I got it. When I saw Mission XXX, I said, I'm getting it, and I got it. When I saw Moolah Bank, I said, I'm getting it. Then I said, I'm not getting it, and I got it. Those things grabbed me. When I saw the Swamp of Sorrows palette, I said, I'm getting it. So either something just really grabs me right away, or it's like, like the Nocturne palette. I was just like, that looks like Swamp of Sorrows. It might be nice, you know, to have the extra shades. But it didn't like, I'm getting it. You know what I mean? And so it's not very many things that do that for me. When I saw Circle Loco, I said, I'm getting it. Because it was just so different. And I got it. And so it's not tempting, number one, because it doesn't grab me. And number two, a lot of brands I'm unable to use as far as eyeshadow. So it's like, okay, another new release. All right. Glamlight release. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cute. Glamlight, you know, uses pressed pigments. So it's not even an issue. You know what I'm saying? And so that's part of the advantage of having eye sensitivity, is because I know I cannot just use anything. And so in a way it saves me money having sensitive lids. So that's where I am with that. Also, I did get PR from Nomad, and you guys have seen that video. Well, 4 of them, and I'm not going to get into that. But in anticipation of that palette, when they sneak peeked the first, we're going to go into this one, the first 2 groupings of shadows, I was looking at it as if I wasn't going to get it. And I say that to say, I was looking at it in the sense of, do I already have these shades? Like, if I wasn't getting it in PR, like, would I buy this palette? And I think a lot of people, it's just like, oh, this palette is gorgeous, I'm getting it. And then when you get it, it's like, okay, you have similar shades already. And it turns out that, I'm not going to talk about it because just watch those videos if you want to see my thoughts on it. But it does look like a lot of other stuff I have. And it was exciting, though, knowing I was getting something new during a time period when I couldn't buy anything new without feeling bad about it. Because when you have an accountability partner for a no-buy, for me, it does hold me accountable. Because if I am tempted, well, there was a situation I'm going to talk about. If I am tempted, I will message them. And so we'll go back and forth and just encourage each other. Oh, you know it's going to be another sale, blah, 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 blah. And so it is really helpful because it's not only me thinking about myself. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to buy it, but versus I said I wasn't going to buy it. How will I feel if I did and then tell this person that I bought it? Because I'm going to be honest and be transparent, and then I'm going to feel like crap, and then I'm going to, so then it's like I'm not going to get it. Like, it's just not worth the hassle for me to feel bad about it, because I don't want to feel bad about buying makeup. You know what I mean? But the one situation that occurred, I was supposed to meet Gail, and in April we decided when to meet, and it was like the second week in May, I believe. It was May 9th actually, because she's been clocking my Sunday videos, my how-to, doing the foundation comparisons, because the day I met her, I had on one foundation on one side, one on the other side, which was May 9th. So that's how I remember that date. And so we agreed on that in like the middle of April. And so when Loc and I decided May for the no-buy, I'm like, I'm supposed to meet one of my subscribers, and we're supposed to meet at TJ Maxx. I was just like, I said, the only temptation would be is if they had, I'm sorry, excuse me, this is the shade Bronze Devotion. I said the only temptation is if they have Pat McGrath and specifically, excuse me, the Velvet Liaison palette, which is ironic because I ended up buying it and then sent it back. So it was just like, okay. And so we were both like, fingers crossed, prayers, whatever, good vibes, that it won't be any Pat McGrath in there. And so when I got there, I'm like, I'm at TJ Maxx, I'll let you know. And she's like, I appreciate you touching base. And so we went in, and I'm like, oh, there's no Pat McGrath. So I texted her, I said, there's no Pat McGrath, I'm not in danger. So, you know, we were both excited about that because I knew if it was there, I was going to buy it. Like, I knew that. And I was honest with Loc about that. And, you know, she was understanding. She was understanding because Pat is a coveted brand. It's a luxury brand. So if you see it deeply discounted somewhere, listen, especially if it's something that you think you want. And so they didn't have it, so I was safe, so I felt good about that. And so that was that situation. We're going back into this shade. And so that was exciting because I didn't break it, even though I knew I would have if it was there. And so not being tempted by other stuff, it was just like, okay. I did see a couple things that I'm like, wow, this is really nice. And I'm like, you know what? No. It was a matte blush. I think it was Peachy Keen. And I'm like, wow, that looks really nice. They had a single MAC shadow. And I'm like, that would be a nice transition shade. And I'm like, you know what? No. I'm like, I'm not getting anything. Because I said if it was Pat, I would get it. I'm not getting anything else. And then other stuff that's there. I haven't seen Peachy Keen or that particular MAC single in other TJ Maxx's and Marshalls. But I'm like, you know what? If it's meant for me to have it, it'll pop up somewhere. And then I'm like, do I really need another blush? Not that I need any makeup. But is this going to add to my collection? And the answer was no. That single eyeshadow, is it going to add anything unique to my collection? The answer was no. So I'm like, okay, no temptation there. Like, yeah, it's pretty, but no. No. Nope, not at all. And so that was that. The Natasha Denona Yucca palette. I'm like, I want that palette. I think it might have been May 28th. And they were doing pre-orders that were to be delivered June 1st. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I'll just wait. It's not limited edition as far as I know. And I said, I'll just wait till it gets to Sephora. 20% off sale. Even though I have a feeling I would just purchase it outright anyway. It's one of her $65 palettes. That's definitely my color story. And I'm like, girl, this is a really simple look. I do kind of want to amp it up though. Let's do that one. That one is Astral Gold Lust. So that's been my experiences. It really slows me down a lot. It really makes me think, what do I have in my collection? If I see something I think I want, is it really going to add to it? And the answer is usually no. Oh, a chunk just fell in my face. But it hit and fell off. Yeah, this would be better with a sponge tip. But since I'm just doing a small area, I thought it would be okay and to not get fallout. I think she's cute. And this is a flaky shade. Not as flaky as the one next to it, which is VR Ecstasy. This one is more smooth. I don't have any. I have like 3 flakes of fallout. So we're just going to press it and swipe. This is a dry brush. And that's all we're going to do. That's all we're going to do with that shade. So that's been my experience. It does really help having an accountability partner. But I am going to get, oh, shout out to Gel Beauty 87, aka Grace. She sent me a code, a 15% off code for the Yucca palette for Natasha's website. So if that still works on June 1st, that will be my first purchase. Because again, I'm waiting for the Esom thing because I know I have enough blushes. I mean, excuse me, bronzers. And so I'm holding off on that, even though I do want it. It's not like, get it. If I didn't have any bronzers, I'll be like, definitely. But because I do have bronzers, it's just like, okay, I could wait. And for the Pat stuff, we know she's going to have a sale soon, so we're going to wait. Did we use this brush? I don't know. But we're going to take this brush because we're going to go back into this one. And we're just going to put some more like right here just to further blend. So that'll be my first purchase, is the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. It is very similar in vibes to the Nomad palette. If you've seen that video, I'm not even going to talk about it. But I do love Natasha Denona's cream to powder formula. I love her creamy matte formula. And it does seem like the shadows in that palette are a lot of those shades. When I first saw it, people were saying it's like Gold and Metropolis had a baby. I didn't see that at all. To me, it looked like Safari and Gold had a baby. But then when I saw someone do a look with it, she was one of the ones that caught it when it was listed for sale before it was supposed to be. And looking at it, you know, live, I'm like, you know what, it does kind of have Metropolis vibes because it has that blue and that green in it. So it does look like Safari and Gold and Metropolis had a baby. And I'm getting it. It's totally my vibe. My eyes are tearing a little bit. I didn't use that dark shade in here, so I don't think I'm having a reaction to anything in here. I don't think I did before. And so I think that's everything that I wanted to say. And I want to encourage you that when you see something you want, really look at the colors and think, do you have them? Because if you don't mind going into other palettes to finish your look, I do have some fallout from that shade. Then you can just do the look anyway. She didn't pick a lower lash line, a liner color. So I'm trying to think of what to do. I kind of want to be funky and do like a blue or a green or something. But we're not. We're going to just take this brown. We're going to put this on lower lash line. I'm going to edit this out. I'm going to take Plum Cabaret, this shade here, just for some fun. And we're going to put this on our lower lash line. So we're going to do the mascara stuff and come back, and then we'll do the cheek situation and talk some more about my experience this month. We're going to start our cheek situation, and we're going to go into the Elephant palette first. I'm going to take this shade right here as a bronzer, a contour type shade. And we're going to put this on. So again, what a Nobody does for me, it slows me down. And it causes me to look at what's in my collection and think, do I have something similar? And because I have certain preferences, you know, usually I do. And so it's not a lot of temptation. As I said, something needs to really grab me for me to really just give in and be like, yeah, I'm getting that palette. As far as eyeshadow. And I do have more eyeshadow than other stuff, but the other stuff too. You know, I like having a curated collection, meaning there are not a lot of dupes. Now, granted, I do have quite a few greens now. The new Nomad palette, I said in some of those videos, I have similar colors in Moolah Bank, Mission Triple X, and a couple of the greens look like greens from 669 palette. So do I need the Yucca palette? No. Am I getting it? Hell yeah. I just love her formula and I know it's going to work. And that's important to me. If I know something's going to work, that's what I'm going to gravitate to. And that's why I have so few brands in my collection to start with. This is feeling uncomfortable because I can feel the wetness on my lids in this area here. And it feels annoying. So I just want to encourage you that when you see stuff, just try not to look at it as a complete palette. Try to look at it as, is this going to add to my collection? Do I already have this? And chances are, if you have a larger collection than me, then you do. Like, seriously. We're going to go into the Tiger palette, and we're going to take this shade here, and we're going to use this as our bronzer. And so that's what helps me, and also having the sensitivities I do, and knowing that I can't wear just anything on my lids. So that slows me down, too. Today I saw a palette, I forget the brand, it's a small indie brand, one woman, excuse me, I think it's one female indie brand, and it looked, when I first saw it, I thought it was the no, not that, this palette, Selling Cosmetics, Forest Heart palette. I thought it was that one when I first saw it, and then as I look closer, the shades just seemed to be rearranged, and so I messaged the brand asking, you know, was it pressed pigments? And the person who posted it, she's also one of my subscribers. And so shout out to Hildegard. I DM'd her asking if she can take a screenshot of, well, not a screenshot, but take a picture of the ingredient list and send it to me. And she did. And it does look like it's a pressed pigment palette. Meanwhile, I did email asking the brand if it was pressed pigments, but it really looks like it is. And they're in France too. And so she said they had, well, reading her comment, because somebody asked, was it in stock? She said it is, but once this stock runs out, why does it look like a little patch right here? She said there'll be a pre-order that'll go out in August. And I'm like, huh. But Hildegard said it is a more muted version than Forest Heart, and y'all know I like dark shadows, and so I was just kind of like, And then I'm thinking, okay, coming from overseas, it took her, I think, 5 weeks to get her palette. So I'm like, I don't know. And then I don't really want to do the pre-order if by June 1st, which you'll be seeing this after June 1st, if I want to do a pre-order, which I don't. And knowing that it is a lighter palette, I think muted was the word she used, compared to Dark Forest. I'm like, well, y'all know I like dark shadows. And so as I kept thinking about it, I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to get it. Because number one, having to research ingredients takes the fun out of it. I just want to see a palette like 669, grab me, get it, and it's done. Versus, you know, looking at ingredients, you know, wondering if it is pressed pigments, and then seeing the ingredients and realizing it is pressed pigments. So it's like, you know what, no. And it being a lighter, well, more muted version of Forest Heart. Is it Forest Heart? I always want to say Dark Forest. Yes, Forest Heart. So I'm not going to get that palette. We're going to use, what am I using? We're using this as a blush. We're going to use this as a blush light, and we're going to use this as a highlight. And so even with that, knowing that the no buy will be over, again, today is May 30th, I'm still just like, But that's my perpetual low buy anyway, was not purchasing anything on sale unless it was essential, on sale or with a coupon unless it's essential. And when stuff that are staples for me are on sale, that's when I get backups. And so even essentials, particularly skincare, I don't need anything because I have backups of what I use. And the only exception would have been the Natasha, but then Grace sent me the 15% off code. So I'm like, that's still in line with my perpetual low buy. So I do feel good about that. Now this one we're going to use as a blush light. And so I felt good about that because makeup for me, as I said, is not a need. And just wanting to get something, it's like I don't want to pay full price for it because I don't need it. And I have other stuff, you know what I mean? But I just when I saw it, I knew I was getting it. It was no question about it. There's a patch right here. I have no idea why. I'm not even going to say tell me if you see it or not, because this is, I got dizzy again. Y'all, I don't know what, I slept well, so I'm not sleep deprived, so I don't know what, I don't know. Going in with this with a highlight, and I had a good breakfast. That oatmeal with Vietnamese cinnamon. I put a banana in it. So like I am not malnourished. I am not malnourished. Like I am, you know, I had a good breakfast. You know what? I had like 2 ounces of Mountain Dew. So maybe that's what's making my head spin. Because I don't have like any solid food, you know, oatmeal and a banana. So maybe it's the Mountain Dew that's ping-ponging around in my head. I don't know. That might be it though. That was just so strange. It's on its way out though. Like it doesn't stay, which is good. I'm gonna take, I don't know if this is my blush brush or the blush light brush, but we're gonna just like this. I just hit the brush in it. So that's been my experience with the no buy. With the low buy, I'm like, okay, so coupon, you know, it's not a necessity. It'll kind of sort of maybe if I want to justify it, add to my collection, but not really. And that's why, you know, coupon or discount code. But this is really, I mean, it just feels weird because it's wet and I can feel it. Oh, I should stop doing this because now it's making this look patchy. Because it being wet and this being a dry brush, I think it's picking up the shadow. So let's just leave that alone. What else are we going to do? We're going back to the Elephant palette. And we're going to take a clean one of these. And we're going to go into this powder here to set under eye. Which I probably shouldn't because it's wet. And we're also going to use this as a finishing powder. I do have this shade as a single, as a larger one. But since we're in the Elephant palette, we're going to use it You know what, let me just use the other one because it'll be quicker and easier. So it's the same shade. And this one I can just be haphazard with the brush and get it done quicker. So that was my experience with the no buy. It is different for me. It feels different for me intellectually than the perpetual low buy, because my brain is just like, don't buy anything, like nothing, even groceries or Amazon stuff. It's just like, don't even start spending money. Because there are times when, like if I wasn't on a no buy, I would have gotten that MAC stuff from TJ Maxx. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, no, nothing. And I would have broke my nobody get it. But if it was just my regular low buy, I would have gotten it because it is severely discounted. And so, yeah, so let me know what you think about that. Like if you had a Mercari store and you were rethinking stuff that was in there, how would you feel? Like, would you feel like you're breaking the no buy or not? And Loc said it's not, and I agree that it's not, but the way my brain is, it's like nothing new, period. Nothing new, even though it's not technically a new purchase. I'm gonna wipe off some of the Tillamook and we're gonna put on this red lip and we'll be done. And I'm excited because I thought this video was gonna be a lot longer because I'm not good at multitasking, but it helped having notes to help keep me on track. We're gonna put this on. I don't know what it's gonna look like with this lip. I'm looking at my notes, seeing if I covered everything, and I actually did cover everything. Let me know if you, let me do this first and come back. I don't think the lip goes. I think the lip is too red for the eye look, and you know I want to take a black and just put it in the corners and do an ombre. Y'all know I want to do that, but we're not. I'm not even going to spray the face because that wasn't on the list. So this is the final look for this collab, closing out my May no buy with Loc Maiden. We did it and both of us were just so excited because even though here and there it was like, okay, for her the Suku collection was coming out and she was just like, ugh. And for me it was just, you know, little stuff here or there, but we did it, and it is a feeling of accomplishing something. And to share that excitement of accomplishing something with another person, it's exciting. It's like we did this together. We made it. Now it's tearing over here. What is happening? So just knowing and feeling like we did this together. We made it. We accomplished it. And so it just feels good. And even though we already know what we're purchasing next, I'm definitely getting the Natasha palette. I'm nocturnal. So after midnight, June 1st, like when it's May 30th, when that clock strikes 1 minute after 12, it'll be June 1st. I'm gonna be online looking for that palette, for the Natasha the Know That You Can palette. And the Esom, that'll be down the line unless they just happen to have like a 20 or 30% off sale, which I doubt because that palette is fairly new. But it is in the back of my mind to get it. And it's important for me to use what I have and to not have a lot of dupes, even though I'm gonna have a lot more greens. If you would like to see a video of all of my green palettes, let me know, because it is quite a few. And once you lean into your aesthetic, what your vibe is, what you gravitate most to, you will end up with some dupes. And I'm realizing that. So even though I'm saying I don't like dupes, all them greens, yeah, I got some dupes. And even with the new Nomad palette, I got more greens. And so, but because I don't have a lot of palettes and because those are my colors, I will definitely still use them. So keep in mind, you see something you want, try to determine if it grabs you, like, I'm getting that. Like me with the 669, I'm getting it. I didn't know if it was gonna work, came from Belgium, you know, extra money for shipping, customs, all that. I'm like, I'm getting it, I didn't care. So try to determine if you want something because it grabs you, or you just see it and you're like, oh, that's pretty. And then you're watching videos and you're like, yeah, I want that palette. Or do you really sit and think, okay, the palette looks nice, but when you break it down and start looking at the individual shadows, do you have similar stuff in your collection? So this is just me encouraging you to do that, to just slow down and to think if you already have that. And when I say a curated collection, that means there's not a lot of dupes. Having a workable collection means everything is worked in. It's not a dig at anybody who has 150, 200, 300, 500 palettes. It's not a dig at that. This is just me and how I want to do things, because I just don't want just stuff just being here and also not being used, and my collection being fairly small. Everything does get used, not all the time, because even though right now 39 palettes, some stuff is not going to get used because I just did like 4 days of Nomad, you know what I'm saying? But it does get worked in somewhere without me tossing palettes because they've turned, because I've had them for 2 years, you know what I'm saying? And so this is just to encourage you. And if, oh, I'm seeing a note here. Melt had a 50% off sale, and it was only the second time I've ever seen them have a 50% off sale. And I was like, oh, because I do want some more of their eyeliner brushes. And the ironic thing is when they had their 40% off sale, I didn't see their gel eyeliner brushes on the website. This time I did. I opened the email, went to the website, and I'm like, damn, they got them brushes. But I said, you know what? This is the second time I saw 50% off sale. It'll be a third 50% off sale. But I really was just like, but again, there will be another one. I just know just to wait. If this is the second 50% off, it'll be a third one. So I'm gonna just wait. And it's only $22. So, but on sale it was $11. So we would rather pay $11 than $22, right? Right. But that's the only other thing. Everything else, yeah, I touched on all of my other notes. So just, if you want to do a no-buy, I will say have an accountability partner. Someone you know that they will be like, you know it's going to be another sale. Why do you want it? Do you have anything similar? Someone that's going to ask you the questions I just asked you. You know, do you have something similar? Do you have that color story? Is it going to add something unique to your collection? Or do you want it just because it's pretty? Or do you want it just because it's on sale? And brands try to get us because limited edition, pre-order, afterpay, you know what I mean? And so they stuff is hyped up, and then we have FOMO, fear of missing out. Well, if I don't get the pre-order, I might not get it at all. If I wait till it launches, I might not get it. But the thing is look at what you already have. Like, if you didn't get it, would you seriously miss it? Like a month later, would you be like, oh damn, I didn't get that palette last month? There are a few things that do hit you that way, where it's just like, if I say I want that 669 and grabbed me and I didn't get it, it would have kept coming back up in my mind. But that's because it grabbed me the way it did. And so just think about those things, and you have an accountability partner, someone that's going to hold you to it, and someone that you feel a bond with. Because if I would have broken it, I would have felt like shit, like seriously, because I would have felt like, number one, I let myself down, but I can deal with that, right? But then I'm also letting this other person down. How am I going to feel about that? I'm going to feel like 2 piles of shit instead of 1. You know what I mean? And so it really helped me to have Loc as my accountability partner. We think alike in some things as far as sales, waiting for stuff, not giving into the hype. And we do sit back and think, is this going to add something? And she calls her collection her beauty capsule. And she is intentional with her purchases the same way that I am. And so it was really a good fit. And it was exciting. I don't even know how it came about. Like, I don't know if it was her idea or my idea, or we were like, hey, how about we do such and such or whatever. I really don't even remember. Maybe she'll talk about that in her video. But it was just like, yeah, let's do it. And we did it. And it is such a good feeling. And so I hope this video was insightful for you. I hope that it gives you something to think about. I'm just glancing at my notes. And also it was exciting to do the look, someone else picking my makeup. And Loc, you did good. I still don't know what this patch is. Right here, this patch. I still don't know what that is. But the cheek situation, I laugh because she texted me saying every time now she thinks of cheek products, she thinks of me saying cheek situation. I've heard her say it in a couple of her videos, and she's like, this cheek situation, and I always laugh. But I hate that I love those hourglass palettes. But look minus the patch. Look, let me do this way. Look at this, y'all. And even the lip it's starting to grow on me. I think it's making the entire look pop because the eye is smoky, it's a little bit dark. I like how we did the shine underneath. And so I think the lip just brings like a little pop to the entire look. But Loc, thank you, number one, for this collab. Thank you for being an amazing accountability partner. Thank you for picking my face today because Troll is looking good. Like I need to go like to the grocery store, like somewhere, not walk the park because then I'll sweat and be looking crazy. But I'm loving the look. I was anxious about someone else picking my face. But I'm loving it. And I was excited again to use Mothership 10 Moonlit Seduction. So thank you, Loc. I will tag her below. You can click on that. It'll take you to her channel. I will have her video link to this collab below. You can click on that. It'll take you directly to her video. So however you get to her, do get to her. She does amazing looks. I call her Quiet Storm because she's very quiet. She's very subdued. She plays Zen-like music in the background of her videos. It's very soothing, very relaxing. Even her voice, where to me, I think I sound obnoxious. And so in a sense, like we're opposites in our personalities. But the looks that she does, even though her personality seems to be quiet and subdued and thoughtful and insightful, which she is thoughtful and insightful, some of them looks that she does is just like, pew! And I'm just like, how does little meat creature do this? Well, not this, but like the bold looks that she does. And I'm just like, damn. And so that's why I call it Quiet Storm, because it's like, it's nothing. And then it's just like in your face. And so that's why I call her Quiet Storm, because it just sneaks up on you like you don't expect it. And by the time she finishes a look, it's just like, whoa. And I can tell when her creative mind kicks in, because she'll be doing a look and, you know, like, you know, she'll put her eyeshadow on and then she'll do something else, and then she'll like kind of look, and then she'll just do something. And before you know it, it's just like, whoa, like what? Like, how did you even think of that? And it seems like it just comes to her. Like she's looking and her mind is like, okay, let's just put this here. Like, let's just put that there. Like me, I got notes. But today I didn't have notes, but I'm like, okay, we're just going to stick to, you know, this little quarter of the palette over here. But usually I do plan out what's going to go where. Or at least have an idea. Okay, like we're going to use these 4 shades, and then as I do the look, figure it out. But, you know, you can tell how she'll just be like, and then it's just like, whoa. So that's why I call her Quiet Storm. Anyway, this video is long. I just got another episode. Oh my Lord. I need to eat something solid, like a burger or a sandwich or something. Because I think that Mountain Dew is just not knowing what to do in my system because there's only oatmeal and a banana in there. That's what I'm really thinking. But I'm going to go. Thank you for being here. Please do check her out. If you're not subscribed to me and you're still here, go ahead and subscribe. If you're not subscribed to her, tell her I sent you. You will not regret it. I promise you. And let me know what your thoughts are on my experiences and my encouragement with no buys, what I've learned, what my insights were into my own shopping habits, and what my preferences are and how I decide whether or not to purchase something. Let me know if that was helpful for you to hear. And if you're wanting to do a no buy, let me know if this was helpful to get your thoughts going on how best to go about it, or a perpetual low buy, which I will be going back to, which is only essentials or only stuff that you have a code or is heavily discounted for, like nothing full price. I do break that every now and then. 5% of my purchases are just flat out right, I'm buying it, I'm getting it. But 90 to 95% I would say is codes or coupons or both, or, you know, point multipliers at Ulta. And I also go through Rakuten. I have a link for that below that gives you cash back on purchases. So yeah, so even if you want to do a perpetual low buy, that's how I do mine. And it is easier for me to do that than a no buy, because again, for me, a no buy is no purchases, period. Anything in my life, no. I do need to get gas, I'll wait. So I'm like less than a quarter of a tank. Like my brain is extreme sometimes because I'm a concrete thinker. But that's it, and this was long. Thank you for being here. But those are the questions, and let me know how you think Loc did with picking my face and a red lip. I do not do this often, hardly ever, unless I do an ombre because I'm black on it. But I'm feeling really good that we've succeeded, and I'm feeling good because I know I look like the best troll ever right now. Thank you for being here. As always, self-acceptance, self-love, that is the Crazy Troll Nation way. You will see me in the next video. Don't forget to click like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe for myself and for Loc's videos and her channel. And comment below. Let's have a conversation. Thank you, and you will see me soon.